Hello and welcome to Last Time On. This is the podcast for people who want to watch all this prestige television, but who's got time for it? Ben, do you have time?
I know I don't. I'm
Victor,
grizzled and jaded, and I've seen too much.
I don't have time either. In fact, I'm expecting a FedEx package any minute now. Oh, there it is now. Oh, shit, it's a shitload of belters. Ah! I'm Victor. Welcome back to the show, everyone.
I'm Jafar. Yeah, and we're here to do our last episode on the Expanse. We went through the show in our randomized order. Well, not random, but skipping order. We went back and we talked about everything that happened in the 6 seasons of the show. And now we're going back to watch the one that got away.
The go back
Before
episode.
we do that, there's something important we forgot.
What did we forget?
Yeah.
What happened to Alex?
Yeah.
Oh, the actor got canceled. The there were a ton of allegations of misconduct from like every woman on the cast towards that actor. So he was let go. He was just dropped. So they had to create I got to say, it was actually really well done the way they killed his character. You could tell that they hadn't finished shooting the scenes that they had planned with him. They just gave him his pink slip and kicked him out the door. But they edited something together to kill his character, basically. They gave him a stroke, which is a very real threat. Every time you go into high G maneuvers in space, there's
that
a
makes sense,
percent chance that you could just fucking die. So it worked. It offed his character, and it was also kind of heightened the tension a little bit by in the universe saying just how dangerous it is living in space. So yeah.
But so in the books, Alex was still alive and doing stuff for a while.
Correct. So instead of which I can respect the choice of the showrunners. I think it would have been nice if they would have just recasted him, because I love the character of Alex, man. He's so cool. He's one of my favorite.
That is one thing.
Ever.
And this may be because I am and I understand the problems, but I am a long-standing Bond fan.
Yeah.
But as a Bond fan, recast the character. What's your problem?
Right.
Remake stuff. Do it over again. You've still got the old one.
Mm-hmm.
Take a new crack at it. Nobody gets mad at live theater when but it's not the same cast as before. It's like, no,
right.
You're in a regional theater production. Like, you get the local guy. I'm not George Wendt, who played Santa in the Broadway production of Elf.
In Game of Thrones, they recast the Mountain 3 times, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, it's the sort of thing where it's just like, just recast him. Like when there was the whole thing about you should never recast a legacy character. It was recently in Star Wars was a big deal. Like, no one else should ever play Luke, or we should just CGI all these characters. It's like, no, just cast somebody new.
Yeah, I know.
Let them have a new crack at it.
Oh man,
it's fine.
When Luke reappears in The Mandalorian, man, the CGI was pretty terrible. I wish they would have just brought in, I'm forgetting his name, Sebastian Stan. Dude, Sebastian Stan is our new Mark Hamill, dude. He just a little bit of makeup, and he's a spitting image of Mark Hamill. But I digress.
Or get Mark Hamill's twin from the episode of The Muppets.
What?
The episode of The Muppets that Mark Hamill was on, he also played his twin.
Okay, wow, that is a deep cut. That cut is deep.
He'd age. His twin would have aged out of the role, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're right.
What, did you think they just put his twin in cryo for the past 30 years?
I mean, you were talking Winter Soldier, so.
Nice. Nice.
All right. Well,
But we are
I'm
talking
glad we
doors
could
and corners.
clear
And
that up. Doors
Jafar
and Corners,
cannot be
season 2,
pleased. I
episode 2.
freaking swear. Jafar texted me last week asking if this was the show because I promised it had an epic space battle. And he was like, well, okay, I just wanted to make sure because, yeah, it was a space battle, but it wasn't epic enough for me. So I'm like,
Well,
He's
it's
like,
not
"Is
that it
that
wasn't
it?"
epic enough for me. It was like 3 minutes.
It was a
When
lot
you're
longer
like-
than 3 minutes.
Was it? Okay.
It
I
really
mean, I
was.
don't
It
know.
was, and the reason originally, like I set up a poll on DMTV asking everyone what the Expanse
With the
fans-
liars?
no, on the main page.
Oh, okay.
But, asking what their favorite Expanse battle was, and the Doninger battle overwhelmingly got it. But I went back and watched that episode, and then I watched this one, and it's just this one was just a better episode. Like the Doninger, it was episode 4 of the entire series, and the actors are still finding their legs. You know, their characters aren't as much established yet, and a lot of the acting is really cringy, but it's because it takes place on a Martian ship, and the Martians are like
Weird.
They're kind of, yeah, they're like the Helldivers guys. You know, for democracy, for Mars. You know, they're all that kind of thing. And I don't know,
Folks at home, I'm doing the Super Earth
democracy, super Earth, yeah, super Mars.
salute. For managed democracy.
So it is a little cheesy there. And also, what I like about this one better is, for one thing, I watched it again, and man, it still gives me chills every time I watch it. Some of the scenes, and once the battle starts, it doesn't cut away. Like in the CQB, the battle lasts throughout the entire episode, but then they cut back to Earth, then they cut over to Miller, and it just doesn't flow as well, I think. So I thought you might appreciate this episode a little more.
It was a good.
Let me-
It was a good episode. I was just surprised to learn that this was the best episode.
I mean, you guys, we watched the highest rated episode, the one with I Am That Guy. That was the highest rated episode of the series.
Okay.
So I just felt that this was the best space battle.
I mean, and also when you just think about number of minutes, it's probably more space battle than you get in the first 3 seasons of TNG.
Yeah.
Well, I don't go to Star Trek for space battles.
I do. That's why I love DS9.
Yeah, baby.
I mean, DS9 does it right, but I mean, I don't know. I was raised with a Star Trek that didn't have space battles. So
Back in my day, we solved our problems with words and Shakespeare, not photon torpedoes.
And also sometimes just a space hippie eats poisoned fruit. Having just finished watching TOS.
God, that's
And Abraham Lincoln was there.
Well, speaking of politicians in space, we open in media meeting.
it's the UN after Mars has destroyed Phoebe Station here. This is something that we learned about in our recap episodes. The UN talks about countering by destroying one of their bases, while
Not just the
Drummer
base.
and Fred Johnson.
Not just the base, the moon.
Yeah.
The moon Deimos. They end up blowing up the entire fucking moon.
And Avasarala and Sadavar are texting in class.
Through.
And Admiral Souther resigns in protest.
So
I will not blow up a moon.
Yeah.
He's not going to go full Piccolo.
Avasarala's acting in this scene is pretty cringy, but see, that is also the point. You guys missed the previous episode where she lied to the entire council in order to manipulate them, which is what she does. And her opening line here is, "Oh, thank heaven the captain of the Nathan Hale is such a reasonable man." She says it in such a cheesy way, but that's the point. That's to convey to the audience that she's manipulating them. Hang on.
Jafar,
Yes, Ben.
you said a lie. Because you said we go over to Fred Johnson and Drummer. We do not. We go over to Fred Johnson and Fred Johnson First Officer. Drummer does not have a name yet.
Right. This is her debut in the series. This is the first time we
Oh,
see Drummer.
okay.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, it's baby Drummer. Like she doesn't even Drummer yet.
Yeah. Tycho Station, the Rocinante makes its return. They've apparently been gone for longer than they thought they'd be.
Because they did the whole Arrows thing,
Right.
and
Yeah.
Thomas Jane is in 0G and then slams into the floor and says,
He's
"I
the
hate
worst.
space."
That is great. He is the worst belter ever. But yeah, that's another reason I picked this episode for you guys, because it over the other one, because it's got a lot more really good Thomas Jane moments.
He
does
is pretty
have a lot of
fun
fun,
in this.
Thomas Jane. Yeah. Miller and Holden basically recap season 1 to Fred here, which was also nice for us. Nice recap for us.
It is also like I love moments like this where you run into somebody who's like, I'm not going to try and undersell Fred Johnson here, but he's at like district manager level, and they're like, we're talking CEO shit. This is above your head. And he's like, what? No, I'm a district manager. Nothing's above my head. And it's like, humanity ending apocalypse. This is above my head.
Yeah, he owns the entire space station that they're
Yeah,
on.
but
Yeah.
he doesn't run the OPA.
Right. He's trying to, but he does not.
Yeah,
he's,
he doesn't
I-
even have all of the factions. Like, he can get 12 factions into a room. He can't make them all listen to him.
right. Oh man, yeah, we'll get to that later. That's fun.
Yeah.
But
love
I
this
did-
next scene where
But,
Alex talks about helping refugees, and Amos doesn't care about the refugees.
Made me so happy. It's just like, oh, there's my safe space.
It's Amos. That is.
Amos
like,
being
man,
like,
he
why
really
would I give a
does.
shit?
Why do I give a shit about these refugees?
Like, and Alex is going full like, we could have done more. We could have saved more. And Amos is like, we got out.
Fuck those refugees. Yeah. One of the refugees from Eros that he's escorting around, I swear this guy looks exactly like the dude from Fifth Element, who was.
Where's the cash?
Cash, yeah. I thought it was the same actor. I had to go look it up, but it was like, man, nah, that was like 30 years ago. But
I also loved that Amos paid a woman to listen to Alex
That was great.
wax poetical.
it's very polite of him. It's like, I don't give a shit, but I give a shit enough to make sure you're okay while I'm off not giving a shit. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Holden tells Fred that the people who carried out the Eros experiment beamed their data to a station. Okay, yeah, we're past that.
We get to Naomi and Holden working on the guns.
Yeah.
I am
Talking about
annoyed in this
Naomi's
scene.
past.
I'm
in the
annoyed
OPA.
that they have, in the future, 300 years in the fucking future, that the Mars Navy has not standardized their fastening bolts. She keeps having to ask for a different size wrench. That is so irritating. It's like, God damn it, why can't you just make them all the same size? Fuck.
Or
I'm sure-
at least, why do I not have some sort of futuristic auto-sizing
Yeah,
ratchet?
multi-tool, yeah.
Yeah.
They're not even
Or-
futuristic. I own a multi-size ratchet tool.
Yeah, I've got right now a thing that is, it's not everything, but it's 8 different ratchet heads on the same wrench.
God, that is so irritating when you have to put all your tools back and then you're missing one wrench and you're like, fuck. I mean, maybe
She
that's
does-
just a me thing, but I'm like, oh,
well,
God.
but she does very clearly does not ask for the 10 millimeter because it doesn't matter what year you're in, the 10 millimeter's gone. It's gone. You're never finding that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But she does reference running with a rough crowd. Does not mention like, and I married their leader and had a kid.
Yeah, we had to wait like 4 whole seasons before we found out about her and Marcos. That was,
We also found out that Holden threatened to kill Amos.
yeah, that was just once.
But still, and Amos threatened to kill Holden.
Many times. Daisy, come
Yeah.
back.
I'm glad it's a running bit.
Well, I'm guessing any time after the Cant blew up, because that was Holden's home, making Holden a refugee.
Ah, there we go. Full circle.
Full circle.
Fred
Yeah.
gets challenged and spaces some rando belter.
Never hold your meeting in front of an airlock. My God.
I would never attend a meeting in front of an airlock.
Right?
If I get the meeting invite for we're talking about something serious, you better show up, and it's the meeting location is in front of airlock A7, I'm not fucking going. I'm calling in sick. I'm sending someone else.
At the very least, bring a helmet, just in case you get thrown out the
when you have a meeting in front of an airlock, you're getting the Laura Roslin special.
Laura,
I wanted to make that joke. Do we need to cut it out? But I don't know about you guys. The way this was shot, we see that this Belter has a gun in his waistband. And we see Fred noticing it and, like, eyeing it a couple of times. And I'm just like, oh, is he going to throw him into the airlock and shoot him so, like, the bullet's contained or what? And then, no, it was just a MacGuffin. He just spaces the motherfucker.
I think I meant to go back and watch the episode, but I'm pretty sure Fred has a rule of no guns on a space station, just because it's his space station, and guns on a space station is bad.
And he doesn't believe in the Second Amendment.
Right. So, yeah, either that or I'm not sure. I looked up on the Wikipedia, on the Expanse wiki, to see if he just spaced him just because that's the Belter way of making a point, or if it's because he noticed the gun. Either way,
he does make a point.
Conclusion, yeah. Oh, so this Belter guy is bragging about how
trying to kill Avasarala.
Right, and that was in the previous episode where I'm disappointed we didn't hit that one, because that scene where the assassination attempt on Avasarala, it is beat for beat just like Star Wars Attack of the Clones when Padme almost gets assassinated going into her shit. It's exactly the same scene. It's like she's walking towards the shuttle, and then at the last second, like, get down, Madam President, and boom. So if she would have had a twin sister that was a decoy, it would have been exactly the same scene. But
oh man,
I just had flashbacks when you said "Get down, Mr. President."
Did you used to play that game?
Oh
no, you're talking about that. Oh God.
No. This was a game that was played.
Yeah, no, I used to play that game. When I was in high school.
We used to play it while getting shit-faced in a river.
Yeah. And it was when we played it in our LARP group, and it's when I was the president. Was when that game was popular, and so I would just hear it, and people would just run for me. I got tackled so many fucking times. Like, I already had a bad knee before that started. And I think that summer when that was popular, I think that winter is the winter I sprained my ankle 4 times in one winter.
Damn, nice going.
Including
dude.
once in my sleep. The only thing I can think of, my bed was up against a wall, and I think I thwacked it up against the wall in the middle of the night or something.
Woof.
But, yeah.
There was a string of like 3 weeks where about every 3 or 4 days, Gloria and my wife would just roll over in her sleep and just knee the shit out of me. Like she was like trying to get the bantamweight belt in UFC, just like like giving me everything, and I'm just like, okay, we're getting a king size bed.
Yeah, I
She's like,
used to.
but now you're so far away from me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm safe.
I used to do that a lot before I got my CPAP machine. I would, yeah. Yeah, it was a bad time for some of my previous partners.
So then we watched the Rossi and Alex blow up, but it was all an illusion.
Yep, Alex is there playing. What's the name of that damn game?
Starfield?
Starfield, yeah. He's playing Starfield over and over again. I love Miller's line here. He just walks in and be like, hey, your ship keeps getting blown up there, buddy.
And I do love Miller, who's just like, I was born on an asteroid. I hate space travel. I hate everything about this. Of course I never learned how to fly a ship, but like, you guys seem to be doing a bad job at it.
Right. Yeah. This is very similar to the season finale where he tells them, "No, I'm not going to go on the ship. I'm going down with the assault team." That's really similar to the final episode we saw, where Amos has that same conversation, saying, "No, no, 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 no. I'm going down with the red shirts." And they're like, "Are you crazy, man? You're going to go down with all the guys who are all the extras? You're going to get killed."
I did appreciate, though, Miller is just like, I'll clean out my shit. Like, I'm going down with the assault team. Been nice. And Holden's like, nah, man, like, yeah, you're completely useless on the ship. That doesn't mean we're kicking you off.
Right.
So him saying, like, hey, your cabin is still waiting for you, that was nice.
That is really nice. Then we cut back to Earth, where Avasarala sneaks up on Admiral Souther at the after he just lost his job to Ryu.
Yep.
I forgot that actor's name, but yeah, he's back.
Admiral Nguyen.
Admiral Nguyen. No, I forgot the actor's name though. But he was the same guy who played Ryu in Street Fighter.
And we saw him die later.
Right. Now, I don't know. I don't think it's clarified in the books either if he was in bed with Aaron Wright at this point, or if he landed that gig after becoming the fleet admiral when
I don't know,
Sauber
but
got fired.
it takes a certain kind of person who's just like, I am sitting here in my chair dying as my ship dies, and the only thing I want to do right now is really be racist to the Martian and Belter who showed up. It's just like,
Right.
yes, I understand my organs are dying and my spine is broken and I failed in every capacity and all of my subordinates are dead. But let's talk about the Italians.
Yeah. The scene here between Avasarala and Souther is, man, it's just great. I just love how he rips her and you are the worst person I've ever met. That was really good. Then we see that our boy
Kotiar.
Asher Kotiar has been there in the background the whole time.
I love how cutting but also pragmatic Avasarala is. Mm-hmm. Where she's just like, sit down. He's like, is that an order? Yeah, if it'll make you sit down, like it wasn't, but if you'll shut up and sit down so we can talk, yeah, all right.
She is so good. She is so good. There's a scene that you guys missed in an episode you skipped over, where Bobby is there in her power armor and they're trying to get off of the ship, of the Jules Pierre Mao's ship after shit goes sideways, and she's like, all right, we got an escape pod, let's get the hell out of here. And she's like, no, wait, we have to take the computer records with us. With that, she needed a copy of that message that Aaron Wright sent. She goes, we have to go, and they're like, ma'am, missiles are in the air, headed towards us. We have 12 minutes. We have to go now. She's like arguing with them, saying, no, we have to get the computer records first. And Bobby's there in her fucking power armor, and he's just like, you want me to just carry her? And she puts Bobby in her place. While she's in her power armor, she points at her and says, don't you dare, you know? It's just like, and Bobby's like, whoa. So, yeah.
Yeah, but she's just like, I do love that she's just like trying to undercut it, like, oh, I know what you think. I'm that bitch in a sari, like, what's going on? And he's just like, ma'am, you are the worst person I've ever met, and I sit in a room with Sadovy. And racist Ryu. Like, come on.
That's a good one.
But we hear Fred Johnson's backstory here, which is rough.
Right.
So he attacked a Belter station. They were going to give him the surrender order. He didn't get it, or where they refused to give it to him, and he killed a bunch of Belters.
Yeah,
right?
so they had like terrorists
so,
attacked a station. Yeah.
So, okay, I get this. And now he's vying for control of the OPA? Like,
it's a little strange.
Vic, what happened to her?
Yeah. In the previous episode in the first season, we see the actual flashback of what happened. There was a space station, it was a mining station, and the miners were on strike. And then the strike got violent because it was actually really similar to the opening scene of Alien Romulus, where the miners are talking about their working conditions, about how people are dying and like the gases and the fumes, and they have children there who are going to grow up with uncurable diseases from the exposure to all the hazards in the mines. So the miners go on strike. It gets violent, and one of the administrators accidentally gets killed in the struggle, and some of the miners want to use that to send a message, and then the leader of the union workers is like, no, we need to de-escalate this situation. And well, the UN is just like, no, fuck this, blow them up, and we're not tolerating this crap, and orders Colonel Johnson's ship to go handle the situation. And then later he finds out that no, they weren't armed. They were unarmed. They were just protesting, and there were women and children and innocent civilians there that he just torpedoed. So he's wrecked with guilt after that, and that's when he resigns. He leaves Earth, and somehow, I guess, I don't know, cashes in his pension and buys a big ass space station and gives jobs to the Belters. It's not really explained. I'm not. I haven't gotten that far into the books either, so I'm not sure if they dive into that.
So we don't really know. Okay.
Yeah, but
Cool.
Victor, I've got a question for you.
Yo.
Do you know? And I'm gonna couch this because I'm pretty sure it's one, but it might be the other. Do you know the first time Americans, I believe it's Americans on American soil, were killed by bombs dropped by planes? It might have been the first time Americans were killed by bombs dropped by planes anywhere. But I think it was Americans on American soil.
I don't know what.
Putting down a miners' strike.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
They got planes and dropped bombs on them.
Yep.
So this is like 1910s. Like, this isn't sci-fi. This is just like, hey, you know what people in power love doing? Killing
Fucking over the
miners to
miners.
send a message.
Let's go over the bonus situation. We never let's talk about the bonus
Sorry,
situation.
can I say something?
Let's talk about the bonus.
The Rossi and Fred's ships prepare for their assault. Miller asks what the go signal is, and Drummer's just like, the door will explode into the station.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we learned FedEx has made it another couple hundred years into the future.
I
Good
spent
for them.
way too much time thinking about these hex pod shipping containers. I'm like, would they really be more efficient than just regular ass rectangular pods?
No, they would not.
Oh.
Because you know what's
okay,
nice
so-
about a rectangle?
What?
You can stack them up, and there's no
Yeah.
empty space.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. It's like, how
No,
would that
this
be?
makes sense to me.
Does it?
Yeah, okay. So when we are talking about stacking on Earth, we have gravity keeping everything together, right? When we're talking about stacking in space, this is not
Oh, if you're stacking
a factor.
around, you can hex them around. Yeah, okay.
So you
Okay.
hex them around, one, and two, presumably there is some mechanism, I'm guessing with magnets or something along those lines, where surface-to-surface contact is what
Okay.
enables them to stick together.
Yeah.
Because that's how you would have to do something like that is removable, yet also has to stick on for travel. Has to be able to handle high G maneuvers, right? Whenever you put two surfaces together, you want greater surface area contact, right? So I'm assuming that the hex shape is stronger for those things because you've got greater surface area compared to the square. You've got two sides connecting. On the hex, you've got multiple sides connecting, and it lead to a greater surface area connection on all points.
I can see
dig,
see what you're
yeah.
talking about there.
Yeah, so that was my assumption. I was like, oh, that makes sense, and thought all those things. But who knows?
Awesome. Thanks
Because
for
I
the
did
math,
research.
Jafar.
I did math.
Thank you for the
Call
Also-
everyone, fill out your fucking bingo cards. It's the Wahab and Her Productions free space. Jafar did math.
Well, we're on the topic of what actually makes sense in space. We have a bit here where Holden is leaving his cup floating up and forgets about it and gets chastised by Amos later. But
point.
why? Like, I understand some people might have a a level of perhaps machismo aversity to it. Why is the sippy cup not just the rule in space? Or at least like,
what do you mean, like with little handles and a straw? Or
well,
something,
just
or-
like a lid on it, and you have to apply suction to get the stuff out.
It
Because
definitely
then
needs a
when you have
straw,
to-
because then
You
I
don't
mean, how
need
do
a
you
straw.
drink it?
No.
You would need a straw because how else are you going to drink it when you got your suit on?
You
You'd need
well,
a little adapter.
but he's not
there
drinking it
somewhere.
with his suit on. It is just a matter of, you know what I don't want floating around my spaceship is loose liquids.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody's coffee getting in the engineering console. Everything's in a sippy cup, or at the very least, like a Stanley cup or something, where there's like a seal and a straw, and it is common practice. You put the straw cap on top when you're done.
See,
like,
the makers of Capri Sun are forward thinking. You know, they're not going to have to change their product at all in the next few hundred years.
no, because you are, because you stick that straw with any force and it goes right through the back, and now you've got juice spraying out both sides, and you poked your hand.
Yeah, it is the worst. Where did we go? Oh yeah, so we get Diogo on the breaching pod here. I really
I just called him Kid.
Yeah, no, you see him later. He's the one that Naomi drops an elevator on his face.
Oh,
He's got a whole story arc, and I really liked his character.
like we saw the start and end of it.
Yeah, you did. you caught it in reverse order here. We originally meet him on series. He's running with some gang members, and they're stealing water. And Miller gives him a shakedown, saying, "Look, man, you can do all the petty crime you want, just don't fuck with the water, okay?" You know.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that was in the pilot. We saw that.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I don't think we watched another season 1 episode, so it must have been the pilot.
Yeah. So
We
I
watched
remember
the
that, though.
pilot and the season 1 finale.
right.
Okay.
So yeah, so then he has to leave series. He takes a job with his uncle, mining rocks, and they get hassled by the Martian cops, and they get screwed over, saying, "Look, we're going to find you anyway." Out, it's backstory, but yeah, his uncle goes kamikaze on a Martian ship because he gets sick of being bullied by the Inners. But before he does, he puts Diogo in a spacesuit and kicks him out. So that's what he's talking about, you know, it's like, "Hey, I'm on bonus time, man." Yeah, because he just happened to be picked up.
Can we talk about that, Vic?
For sure.
Because you are the resident expert on the military
Okay.
and military experience. On
What?
lived military experience. Fuck off, Ben.
I have played
You're the
more
historian.
RTSs.
You're basically a veteran, Ben.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what stolen valor is. Anyways, so
Hey, my bumper sticker says my girlfriend's boyfriend fights for your freedom. So
I know people who had like friends of mine who are veterans who had near-death experiences as part of their service, who 100% have this attitude about their life.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that is my friend group, and because it's more than one person that I know, and I know them through completely different. They're different branches of the military, different experiences, different parts of my life, and they both feel that way. And I'm wondering if this is something that, in your experience and your time in the military, you find to be common.
In my experience, people who have been through shit like that don't like to talk about it.
Well, yes,
but I will
yes.
say
No, for
that,
sure.
So no, it's not something they.
This is not
typically
something that
typically
like
the
they're
type of
running
guys
around
who-
talking about all of the time. This is we're
The
having
ones
a
who
very
the
intense
ones
chat.
the-
kind
there
of
are
stuff.
those who like mention it at the drop of the hat, especially Marines. God, they're notorious for this. But
Actually.
generally, no. I will say I did have a near-death experience, not in combat though, but when I took up skydiving, and my parachute failed to open on my 5th jump. And I honestly feel like I should not be alive right now. This was just something I did on my own time. It wasn't related to the military at all. and it was just the instructor told me that's a 1 in 1,000 chance of happening, and I landed in a field just inches away from the biggest patch of cactus I've ever seen in my life. So I really do feel like I'm just lucky to be here right now. I'm just happy to be here, guys. It's all good.
I had a buddy almost get Final Destinationed.
Oh, with a log.
It was a steel pipe, but yes,
Yeah.
ran through his car, front and back windshield,
God, that's terrifying.
about 1.5 feet away from his face.
God, every time I'm behind a trailer on the highway, I immediately change lanes because of that shit, dude. I'm just like, fuck no, damn not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not to do therapy on podcasts,
Hey, that's
but
why
I
we're here,
wonder
man.
if that is where my anxiety comes from. I
Final
don't think I'm on
Destination?
bonus time. I just, because I've almost died a couple of times, just think everything's trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not
Hey,
paranoia.
I had somebody
if
try to
everything
drown
really
me
is trying
once.
to kill you. Oh
I
yeah,
don't
you
know.
told us about that as a kid. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Woof. Oh man, that's good times. All right, speaking of good times, let's.
I wasn't exactly chill before that, but couldn't
anyway,
have
yeah, I
helped.
was just gonna. Anyway, back to the original point. I was saying I really like Diogo's character before he gets radicalized and recruited by the OPA and gets the stupid tattoo on his face. But
See,
shut up, Vic.
Victor, I just disagree. I think the writing, they really elevated the character. Like, they took him to another level. Like, it was just like, ding. Like,
I feel like he had
character
his up-
development, level 5.
I feel like it had its ups and downs.
That's about all the elevator puns I've got room for.
Let's see here. So the face that. So we get a fire.
So we have our
break
space
down.
battle here.
starts. Yeah.
Yes, we get the space battle. They spot the stealth ship, and I gotta say, man, at the beginning of this episode, they showed Fred Johnson a readout of this space station that they wanted to raid, and they showed him a picture of the stealth ship. These fucking stealth ships really, they suck at being stealth. They keep getting spotted all the damn time.
But it's also like, what makes it a stealth ship? They painted it black. I was like, why don't
Well,
they
see-
paint every spaceship black?
Yeah. You see, the thing about space is it's black.
It's mostly black.
Yeah, is this stealth paint just something that Anish Kapoor can't use? Like,
Yeah, it's supposed to be this Martian tech that absorbs radar and hides thermal and whatnot, but I don't know. It's yeah, it is just painted
Okay.
black like the Rolling
just paint it
Stones.
black. Yeah.
So,
So they decompress at the start of battle. We talked about this
Yeah,
a
I
couple
love it.
episodes ago. The bullets pass through the ship and they just leave trails of like glowing debris from the hull.
Isn't that badass, man? Come on, you got to admit
It's
that was pretty
badass.
fucking
It's
cool.
not how it would work, but it is badass. The second the ship moved, because this is disconnected matter, it would just get slammed up against whatever side of the hull the ship was moving.
Yeah.
Nothing is there to hold it in place as
Well,
the
that's-
ship moves.
Yeah, that's what we see happen in the.
It happens eventually, but the ship is moving the entire time this is happening, and they linger for a while. They linger a lot longer than they should. They should basically fire, and if the ship is moving when it happens,
But it's
you
not.
never
They're
see
not
the trail.
accelerating. Is that they're moving, but they're not
No,
accelerating.
That
But
doesn't-
the particles in space, because it is 0G, would instantly be gone.
So remember that the direction that it was traveling has changed due to the velocity of the bullet.
Yep.
Right.
So
Now,
it's
if
no
it
longer
were-
going in the velocity of the ship. It is now going in the direction of the thing that punched it. So all the debris gets splattered on the far wall instantly.
Now, if, like, for example, if Holden were holding his sippy cup and then were to let go, it would not slam back because the sippy cup has acceleration, right? Because it was held, it was moving with the ship, right? But the bullets are going a different direction. They're sideways compared to the ship going this way.
Yeah, they are traveling in a different direction. Yeah, I'm not sure they would linger like that. They would.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's a good question. And this is
But
the type of thing I'm sure there's
if
a
they would
YouTube essay
return,
about it.
the bullets they burn, they do not fade. They linger.
Anyway, I'm sure
Yeah,
Adam
that's the
Savage has a
cranberries, yeah.
episode about, has a YouTube
Thank you,
episode about this
Jafar.
particular subject. Yeah.
Yeah, no. It is super fucking cool. And,
Yes.
and you could probably explain it away in some, like, they're actually connected because there's just thin strains of atoms holding it all together that were all melted together from the bullet or something. Like, I'm sure I could find some reason to make it work the way it does scientifically, but
But what we're saying is,
but I'm stretching for it. I have to reach for it.
give us all of the money and let us shoot stuff in space to see what happens
See what really happens.
for science.
Oh man,
It is super fucking cool, though.
There is a really cool scene later in the series where Bobby and her Martian Marines have a battle on Ganymede, and in the aftermath, like the camera just pans over, and there is a drop of blood that freezes and forms into a snowflake, and it's just falling serenely over this scene of carnage, and it's so fucking cool. it's so artistic. And I remember back when this aired in the Expanse fans message board somewhere, someone broke down the science of would a drop of blood actually turn into a snowflake, and the answer is yes. So
I'm
those
surprised by that
specific
answer.
conditions, it's very specific. I'm sure I can find it somewhere. It's out there somewhere. I'll post it in the Discord if I find it.
So we get to a point in the battle where Alex is just like, hey, hiding's the best thing to do. And then they find out that there's a old shitty gun on the space station.
Yeah,
and they're just like, well, that's not a problem for us. And it's like, yeah, but you're not floating in a FedEx container. And they're like, ah, shit. And so the Rossi has to jump out, shoot some torpedoes that are going after Fred Johnson and Drummer. And it's one of those things like, looking back in hindsight, maybe just let those torpedoes go. But then they are able to save one of the FedEx containers, and thank goodness it's not the one that the camera is on.
Yeah. Man, if I was one of these belters on this assault team, I would have definitely requested to be on the pod as the main character. You know?
We also get the pod hits. We got our guys breaching, and I am sad. Apparently, this is like the only time this shows up. What's his nuts? Elevator face.
Diogo, yeah.
Diogo gets shot in the head with a gel round.
Yeah, these big ass paintball guns. God, that was hilarious. Hey,
And so it like totally looks like he's dead.
It looks like his face is obliterated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a good scene. And then the belters go full Death Blossom and just start opening fire in every direction.
You did not just reference The Last Starfighter.
Yep. Yes, I did. I went there.
Okay. We're almost at the end of the episode. Victor, do you know what this really sad thing about The Last Starfighter is?
What's that?
So The Last Starfighter actually, in my opinion, falls into a category of films that I think are perfect for a remake.
Okay, yeah. I can see
Because
that.
if you remake a classic, you're just toying with fate. Like, okay, I can try and remake the Ten Commandments, or like Gone with the Wind, or like I'm just thinking of like stuff that's at the top of AFI lists.
Yeah.
And you're bringing comparison. Nobody's going to respect the effort. But there's a set of movies right around like C+, where it's like enough people love this, but even the people who love this, unless you are our Jafar and I's friend Kelly, admit like, hey, this could use some work.
Right.
Like The Last Starfighter, the CGI's bad.
Well, naturally. I mean, yeah.
But it's very old. It's like the first
Yeah.
film to use CGI. And you forget about it. half the film takes place in a trailer park because that's cheap.
Right. I'm gonna have to watch that one again because I would have thought that they used practical effects, not CGI. At that
No,
era,
all the space stuff is CGI. It's yeah.
Let's not deep dive into that
But
too much because we could.
The thing I want to get into is Steven Spielberg and Seth Rogen wanted to do a remake of The Last Starfighter.
Oh God, I'm glad they didn't. I would hate to see Seth Rogen in that.
Well, he was just going to produce it, from my understanding.
Okay.
They were just coming from the point of view like, we love this movie. It
Right.
deserves a second chance. No one can figure out who owns the rights to it.
Oh God.
And if Steven Spielberg can't find out who owns the rights to a movie, like, they
It's
are
never gonna
gone.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so Miller's crew, he takes the Belters in. I like the justification that they have for Miller being on the team here. It's like he's got experience keeping Belter goons from. He's got experience keeping Belter goons in line.
No, but also he has experience, like, shooting people in space stations.
That's also true. Yeah.
Although, this did have... He's doing an assault, and this did get one of those things that annoys me when a character is given a signature gun, even though it doesn't work for the situation. He's got his giant F-off revolver, and it's like, everybody else here has some sort of rifle or carbine. Like,
That is, I didn't notice it until my most recent watch through, but that's the same gun that he took off of a guy last season.
mm-hmm.
It's we missed that episode, but it was a really cool moment where it's a long story, but yeah. Anyway, there's a story behind that gun.
Yeah. And he was using it in the
looks
finale, and I'm like,
Right.
okay, that's cool. Like, he can still have it. This is not a great idea for, like, a guy's 100 yards away shooting at you down a corridor. You might want to have something else.
Yeah. So they break in, they take some fire. Diogo gets hit in the face with the paintball gun, and he tells the Belter crew to split up and tells them, doors and corners, guys. That's where they get you, doors and corners. And I kind of feel like that's the kind of briefing he should have given to them before they landed on the space station. All right, let's make a plan now that we're here. So they find a room full of guys playing Helldivers on their Oculus Rifts. And he's like, come on, guys, get up. And they're all just ignoring the hell out of him until they pull the plug and then react like a bunch of angry gamers who get their
Mom,
internet
it doesn't
pulled.
save! Mom!
And I loved how Miller, how just his annoyance when they kill all these scientists. He's always like, guys, come on! But the one scientist does survive, and he is, I don't know if you recognized him, but he's the one who ends up on Laconia in the final season, who comes running in, interrupting the funeral that Admiral Duarte was at.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not recognize him.
It's the same guy, yeah. He's the only surviving scientist from Protogen. So, yeah, then they kick down... Miller tells him to stay here, don't shoot anything, while he goes and finds the main scientist, Dresden.
Did you notice the annoying thing that Miller did here?
Which part? Which one?
So he tells everybody, doors and corners, that's how they get you.
Oh, and then
Hey,
he
he kicks the door and walks through it backwards. And I'm just like, you dumb motherfucker.
Take your own advice, damn it. Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't catch that, yeah. So then he finds, God, I forgot this actor's name, but it was Spunkmeyer from Aliens. But they capture him. Miller and Fred Johnson come on board, and this scene right here, God, what did you guys think about this scene? There's a lot of exposition here where he explains the proto-molecule and why he murdered 100,000 Belters on Eros.
This guy goes full Nazi scientist.
Yeah.
But don't you understand the essence of the science? I'll kill anybody. I don't care who's in charge. I just need to kill people for science. Jafar, I have a question for you, having never seen this episode before.
Yeah.
How long into this scene did it take for you to go, oh, this guy's getting shot in the face?
Oh, about 5 seconds. So when he steps away from everyone else and there's no one behind him but a wall,
Right.
that's the second I knew he was getting blown.
I saw
Right in the face. Yeah, blown up.
exactly. I saw the framing, and I'm like, oh, yep, it is set up nice. There's nothing behind him. Like, blood is splattering against that back wall.
100%.
Yeah, nice.
At one point, he took like a step back to be closer to it, and I'm just like, "Oh, it's done."
Yeah.
I could feel the second AD being like, all right, step back just a little bit. All right, we're perfect.
Yep. Miller shoots him in the face, and then we go to credits. Now, I do want to say that I really appreciated the actor Spunkmeyer here doing his portrayal of a mad scientist. I mean, it was really good, but I much prefer the way the sequence went down in the book. It was very different. So in the book, when this space station is described more, the interior is more like a corporate office building. Like the Belters, the breaching pod, they go in, and it's like there's fluorescent lighting, there's house plants in the hallways, elevator music, and the Belters are like, what the fuck? You know? And then they find the scientists, and it's the same thing, how they're all hyper fixated on their work. And then they find Dresden, and I really wish they would have gone with the portrayal of Dresden that would have made it true to the books, because in the books he's calm and collected, and he's almost it almost described him as kind of like, I pictured Christian Bale's character from American Psycho. He's just like, very well, yes, you have me, okay, you are in a bargaining position, now what's it going to take for you to leave me alone and get back to my work? You know, he's very calm and collected, and he very casually explains to them why he murdered 100,000 people on Eros, and it's just much more, it's a more realistic version of a psychopath, I think. You know?
Don't you understand? You have to give me all of the twins so I can torture one to see if the other feels it.
Yeah,
Let me do my Nazi shit, and maybe we fly.
right.
Maybe we walk in space.
But another reason that I was hesitant to pick this for you guys as a go back episode is because it takes a few episodes to get the full feel of to feel the full weight of this. Like afterwards, Fred
Holden?
Johnson and Holden are super pissed at Miller for executing this guy, you know, without asking first. They wanted him to go back and stand trial and everything, and Miller,
Or at the very least, tell who your boss is.
Right.
He's like,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, my boss is like, he
Yeah.
does not have a German accent, but like he does.
And plus, since Cortazar was the only scientist to survive, he was an underling, and now it's all up to him. They want to try to get him to create some kind of vaccine for the proto-molecule, which they never do, but that's what they're trying to do. And obviously Dresden, the head scientist, would have been the best candidate for that. So now all they have is this one underling. And there's just such a great scene where, you know, they're telling Miller to get the hell off the station. We never want to see you again. And he talks to Fred Johnson. It's such a great scene. He goes, listen, I just want to tell you, I didn't kill that guy because he was crazy. I killed him because he was starting to make sense.
Funny line of dialogue. Bad reason to kill somebody.
Well, no, because he's a Nazi who tries to make you think he's not a Nazi.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
mean,
it's like,
no,
if he-
killing
if
him for
he's-
being a Nazi. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, because he had talked himself out of execution at gunpoint. If he can do that, he can definitely do it in front of a trial. You know,
Yeah.
he was going to talk
Fair
his
enough.
way out of it, and he's got connections. So it's like, okay, no, this guy needs to go down now. It's like he convinced you that it was okay for him to kill 100,000 Belters. You know, he used the metaphor of Genghis Khan and how the percentage and with this alien race that already fired the first shot. All this shit, yeah. Also, after this is the beginning of Naomi and Drummer's romance story. They get together after Drummer oversees the repairs for the Rocinante, and it's pretty hilarious. She's there with Alex and Naomi. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You guys missed the entire love triangle between.
Yeah, you posted the meme that had that was the actress for Naomi in that picture for sure. Was
Yeah,
that also the
and
actress
Drummer.
for Drummer?
Yes.
Without the eyeshadow, it's hard to tell.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a whole thing where they bond after Drummer oversees the repairs of the Rocinante. Alex and Naomi are there going over the damage with her, and Drummer's just geeking out. She's all just like, "Holy shit, guys! Look at this bullet hole right here. If this was like 1 inch to the left, it would have hit your oxygen tanks. You guys would be dead, dude. Damn!" You know. And Alex is just like, traumatized. Like, okay, yeah, that's great. Can you fix it? And then Alex gets stricken with survivor's guilt, and he ends up replaying the simulation over and over and over again to see if there was any possible way he could have saved that other pod. And he's just obsessed with it. It's a really good scene. Like I said, this episode, to fully appreciate it, you need to see the.
No, that is
next
the
two.
antithesis of our project.
Well, this is
It
the
is.
go back episode. This is where we get to cheat a little bit. It's our cheat.
Well, Victor,
episode.
I do have a very important question to you.
What's that?
If you could tell me just one, do I go back and watch the show, or do I read the books?
Oh, well, I haven't finished the books yet, so.
Well, but
definitely,
you've read the books up through the end of the show, right?
No.
Okay.
I've spoiled it for myself. I've read the Wikipedia summaries, so I know. how it
I've
is.
done that too, man.
But yeah, definitely watch the show first. It's
Not first. If I'm only doing one.
if you're only doing one, watch the show.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll get back to you once I actually finish the books.
Well, by
of
then,
books,
I will have done one or the other.
speaking of book spoilers, do you guys mind book spoilers?
Go for it, my
we
friend.
talked a little bit about this, didn't we?
Well,
Did we talk about it, or did I do this research with the anticipation of spoiling the books on pod? I don't remember.
I don't know, but hey, listeners,
I did a
if-
little bit of reading.
all right. Well, listeners, major spoilers coming in. If you plan on reading the books,
Skip 30. Skip.
skip the next 3 minutes starting now, just to be safe. So, one of you made the prediction that Jafar, that certain
Yeah.
characters would survive till the end. I think that's
Yeah.
honestly, I think that's what won it for you is making that you ran the table on characters that would make it to
Characters
the end.
not dying this time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. One of your predictions was correct. Not only correct, it was very correct. That
Is this about Amos?
about Amos surviving until the end.
Yeah.
So in the final book,
I heard.
of the series,
I read about this. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll tell Ben. So in the final book, there's another war that breaks out with more factions and all this shit, and all the planets in the ring, tons of planets gets colonized, so humanity is spread out all over the thing. Holden decides to destroy the ring network for good, to prevent some kind of war or catastrophe or anything.
Against the ring entities. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was the ring entities. So he destroys the ring network permanently, shuts it down.
So everybody's
all
just
these,
stuck where they are.
yeah, all these colonies all over the fucking galaxy, all over the universe, are now cut off from each other. And then thousands of years later, when some of these colonies develop faster than a different means of faster than light travel, one of them makes it back to Earth. And they come back to Earth thousands of years later, and Amos is there waiting for them because Amos, during the uprising against Duarte, he got killed on the planet that he was at, and the dogs repaired him. And you find out that when the dogs the dogs fixed him. When the dogs fixed you, they don't just fix you; they basically make you immortal. So
Amos, unending.
Amos,
So Amos-
comes back to Earth and he's just like, "Hey, I hear Holden blew up the ring, and there's refugees everywhere. Thousands of years I've been champing at this bit."
So yeah, when you made the prediction that Amos survives, yes, he does. He survives.
He fucking survives. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hope that was less than 90 seconds, so we didn't spoil anything for the book readers.
All right. Well, we've just got one thing left, and that is for me to fully admit defeat, and for Jafar to pick our next show.
All right, Jafar. What is it? You hinted at what it might be, so
So
let's give the big reveal.
I hope he changed his
initially-
mind.
I have changed my mind. Originally, I
okay.
was going to pick The West Wing because I wanted to do one that I had seen and you guys hadn't, to kind of fill that same role, because I thought that was a fun dynamic this last season.
It would have been really fun if you guys had that plan in place when you guys watched Briscoe County Jr., and I could have been in on those episodes and talked about one of my favorite shows.
it's
We
too
only
short,
did that.
though.
We did that solely because you couldn't record those episodes.
Yeah, and
I
plus
know.
it's too short of a series for us
Yeah.
to do that with.
Well, we would have watched a couple, but
Yeah.
So, anyways, I recently went to a big nerdy board game convention, and at said big nerdy board game convention, I bought a D20 that is approximately half the size of my giant fist.
Dope.
It's very big.
Giant fucking hands. So I'm gonna roll this guy. I have in front of me the spreadsheet that we use to rank shows. So we've all gone through and we've ranked 57 different possibilities of shows to cover based off of our level of interest / how funny we think we can be. I'm going to roll this dice, and whatever one is the one it lands on is what we're going to be watching.
I swear to
so
God,
I've
if we
got
get Baywatch.
I have no idea what we're going to watch right now.
There's
And until I
63
roll this
shows.
dice. Yes, but not all of them have ratings, Ben.
Oh, okay.
So we're just
And
going with the
also,
top
you
20.
you can't count the top row because this is Google Sheets. So one is actually the header. So there's 62 shows.
Fair. Okay.
Don't fuck with me on a spreadsheet.
No, this is more, when you guys add stuff, let me rate it.
Yeah,
I haven't touched that spreadsheet. in
you've actually
months.
rated more than either of us.
I know,
So-
because I added most of these shows.
I haven't been on there in months. I'm not even- No,
If
if,
you-
it's Baywatch, I swear to God, I'm.
Is it
leaving.
Viper?
No.
Did you roll a
I roll-
5?
I rolled a 5. I legitimately rolled a 5.
We're doing Viper!
We're doing
Yes!
Viper.
Oh, man.
The perfect weapon for an imperfect world.
Okay.
All I know is we get Byron in episode 1. That's all I. Or is it Byron or Marcus? I don't remember. It's one of
Well,
those two.
we'll find out.
We'll find out very
We'll
soon.
find out next week. when
Well,
we
next week, do
watch-
we want to do a movie break first, or are we gonna?
I don't know.
Let's do
We'll
a
talk
movie
about it
break.
off.
Come
We're
on,
not-
let's do a movie break.
You want to do what movie do you want to watch? This is all getting
well, I
edited.
picked the
What
last
movie do you
one,
wanna watch?
and so I think Ben should pick the.
Yeah, I
Because
think
I,
Ben should
played
pick two.
real
Yes.
human money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was on vacation. I showed my mother that clip that you sent me where you were all just like, "Damn it, Victor! I played real human." I had to explain to her, and of course, she was all just like, "There's a new Predator movie." So
This is 2 Predator movies ago.
yeah, I know, right?
I don't have anything off the top of my head.
Well,
I'll-
we'll just
I'll
talk
pick
about
something.
it later off pod, yeah. But before we go, I do want to. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but I definitely mentioned it in the Discord. That as closing out the Expanse, one thing I really loved is there's at least 2 songs that I know of that the showrunners had covers made of in Belter Creole. So check out the cover of Deep Purple's Highway Star and the Black Keys Tighten Up. You can just search it on YouTube, and if you want to jam out to the Belter version of those songs, I highly recommend it. So, and speaking of songs, you want
We got to say thank you to Goon Squad. The
To
Goon
Ripe.
Squad. We got to say thank you to... Fuck me. We got to say thank you to Ripe. Okay, Queen take. We got to say thank you to Ripe for letting us use the song Goon Squad as our theme. We appreciate the hell out of it. Go check them out wherever you listen to streaming music.
And feel free to shoot us a text
Oh wait,
at
no,
What?
Sorry, I let the subscription lapse. The app I
That's
use, the
fine.
burner app I use, usually gives me a notification when it's but the
You know
text
what?
line
Don't
is no
text
longer
us.
There. Don't text us, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
No one texts
Uh,
us anyway. So
but
drop
leave
the
us a
email.
rating. And
Drop us
we
an
will
email.
see you-
What's our email address?
It
Last
is
time on pod at gmail.com.
Yep.
Yeah, hey,
Last
hey
time on
guys,
pod
if
at
you got
gmail.com.
if you got any questions, email us. Last
Also
time
join
on
on
pod.
Discord. It's super great.
The Discord's a blast. Yeah.
Yeah, the Discord.
I make custom memes there, almost like I'm Victor. And
But you got to say, no, go ahead.
No, go. You go.
No, because this is for after.
Okay.
To edit me out, do the close. This is for after.
And we'll see you next time on Last Time On.